Welcome to The Sound, KQAL-FM's weekly behind-the-scenes look at Midwestern-made music. From writing and recording to distribution and promotion, The Sound is your source for new releases and exclusive interviews from Midwestern artists. Support for The Sound is made possible by a grant from the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund. Rolling.
Today on The Sound, we are joined by Rochester-based artist Fires of Denmark as he presents his new album, Fires of Denmark Presents Volume 1. Fires of Denmark is a genre-bending dream-synth performer who uses live looping of vintage synthesizers to create a unique electrifying experience. With influences coming from The Cure, Tame Impala, DeMarco, Tears for Fears, and Pink Floyd to name a few, one can clearly hear both a familiar beat with a new unique flavor. Listen and take the auditory trip of nostalgia and unfamiliar beats on today's episode of The Sound with Fires of Denmark. And that was Can't Stop Me, written, or is it written by Jeremy Jewell?
Yeah, written by Jeremy Jewell.
All right, sweet.
And me, I guess.
Well, I mean, that actually leads to a question about these songs, because everyone on the album, it'll say, like, written by in some places or remixes of in other places.
Yeah.
So what's the story there?
This is kind of my branch into, like, doing a producer mixtape in a way. It was a COVID project. When I wasn't seeing my friends at shows, all these bands I used to love to see, we kind of started working on these little projects where friends, writers that I know. Do you have any like half-written songs or songs that are just like maybe you just have a verse or just a verse chorus and all? And I wanted to take their songs and just completely explode them from a producer standpoint and just add a crazy amount of composition to it.
Right. So they make songs and you perform them as Fires of Denmark.
Yes.
So then, what made you? So it's obvious you got a few friends that wrote these songs and you wanted to finish out for them.
Yeah.
Why did you choose these specific songs? I assume there were several, so why were these 5 the ones you chose?
Well, these were all just these are the first 5 that I got. Jeremy Jewell, that one you just heard, "It Can't Stop Me."
Mm-hmm.
I asked him if he had any half-written songs. He sent me that, like just the verse and chorus with him singing it, and we just knocked that thing out in probably about 2 hours. And it was just like, this is this is fun. So that kind of led to more people. Where with Annie Ediking, we did one. She's in a band called Annie and the Bang Bang, one of my favorite live bands. And that's going to lead to us doing a whole EP together. We've been kind of working on a handful of songs, and just kind of picking some of my favorite ones from the collections that we've done of all these different musicians.
Right, you mentioned Annie Ediking, and that's actually the next song we plan to play here. So why don't we just get to it?
Yeah.
So this is the song Pony, written by Annie Ediking and performed by Fires of Denmark.
If you wanna ride my pony, you have to tell 3 bad jokes and 1 good story. So true makes your palms sweat. My pony is painted brown and yellow. It does not suffer fools, but loves dummies. Are you dummy enough to ride my pony? If you wanna mount my pony, you have to wear a red felt hat. You can tip like a gentleman with a dirty white string tied under your chin. Where I come from, those hats are made for cowboys and children, but you can wear it and just say you're one of them. Right. When I was young, I wanted something big to happen. I couldn't even sleep for all the wanting. I just lay on my bed in the dark, wondering. But when the big thing finally happened, it wasn't what I thought I wanted, and it really spooked me. It really spooked me and my pony.
And that was Pony, written by Annie Ediking and performed by Fires of Denmark, who we have here in the studio with us.
Hello.
So, how long have you been making music?
Oh my gosh, how long have I been making music? I picked up guitar when I was about 14, and gosh, it's probably been about, what am I, 36, whatever that math is. But as soon as I picked up my guitar, I was right there recording music with it. Like I started recording as soon as I got my guitar and started doing songwriting. And the two and two have always gone hand in hand to me. I've always been an album person. I love listening to the artwork of an album rather than, or even more than live shows are pretty awesome. But I've always found that magic in albums, and I just love doing that producing side.
So then, since you were writing songs since you were 7, what was the first one you written?
What was the first one? I remember the first one I wrote was after like some girl said she didn't like me, and I wrote something and cried. I'm like, oh, music is kind of magical.
Right.
That's probably the first. Like, I have no clue what that was, but I remember that moment. That was pretty fun.
Right. So I guess that kind of answers the question of like, how did you get involved in music? You use it as kind of like a medium to convey emotions.
Yeah, it's always been something I've been fascinated with. I have a compulsion to write. Like, I would spend my whole high school years just in my bedroom, just writing music all the time. Not really for anyone, just mainly for myself. And it's something I've continued doing. That's one of the reasons why I wrote this mixtape project too. Was I started writing music faster than I could release it. Like 1 year, I wrote 400 songs in 1 year. I'm like, how can I physically even release this, out to people? So I had started just working with other people just to get that outlet out.
Right. And speaking of working with other people, you did mention the small project you have going with Annie Enneking. Can you dive into that a little more?
Oh yes, she is such an amazing songwriter. She's in a punk band called Annie the Bang Bang, and she has these solo songs with just her and an acoustic guitar. And during COVID, she came down just on my deck we had like a little window with some cables going down because we wanted to keep that barrier there. And she just came down, recorded like 6 songs on her acoustic guitar, and we ended up making this kind of like dark disco-y album after it. I added my synthesizers and drum machine stuff, and it has this really unique, cool vibe. It was so hard to find a song to put on that sampler. All of them are amazing. I just can't wait for people to hear them.
Well, let's let them hear another one then. So coming up, we're going to have Stuck in Minneapolis, written by James Bracken and performed by Fires of Denmark. And that was Stuck in Minneapolis, written by James Bracken and performed by Fires of Denmark, who we have in the studio here with us today.
Hello.
So, I am awfully curious. Why did you pick the name Fires of Denmark? Where does that come from?
Ooh, good question. We were good at naming, kind of like, you know how bands do, like kind of think of different kinds of names.
Right.
And it's kind of a play off Shakespeare or Shakespeare's Hamlet, like there's something rotten state of Denmark. That was part of it. And then also, if I want to get really cheesy, there's a Kinks song called Denmark Street. The whole song's about like the music industry in that time period and how you would go to Denmark Street in Soho and try to sell your songs. So
really?
The modern vernacular of Fires of, you know, it's kind of just a play on all that kind of stuff. Plus it passed the Google test. Unless some big giant forest fires start happening in Denmark, which is my absolute fear, Fires of Denmark still passed the Google test.
Really? And well, just for the context of the audience, what is the Google test?
If you type anytime you create anything, and especially like band names too, if you type it, you have to be able to type it into Google and have your results pop up. You know, if you named your your band Bobcat, you know, it's probably not going to show up on the thing. But if you named it Bobcat Fireworks Explosion, maybe it would.
Oh, well, that's definitely a good piece of advice for anyone who wants to get started on music. Just do something crazy no one would ever think about.
Exactly. Like King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Yeah, see,
Best name ever.
Yeah, see, I never would have guessed that with Fires of Denmark. When I first heard your name, I was picturing like the ever erupting volcano that I believe is in Denmark. I might be wrong on that.
Yeah. Ooh, I like that. There's been a lot of like music, and I try to like kind of light the speakers on fire at you know, sonically. So it's always kind of that push too, and I really like that volcano thing. I've had a lot of volcanoes in my music videos. I have to go check that one out.
Really? Well, there you go. A bit of inspiration. And, you know, going on inspiration, I've read that you had a lot of inspiration when you started your music. Some examples include Pink Floyd, Tears for Fears, excuse me, The Cure. What is it about these songs that really inspired you? Like, what is it that really got to you?
Pink Floyd is like Dark Side of the Moon is an absolute masterpiece. Like, if there's a reason why it's on the charts every year and every generation finds it. And there's nothing like that album, and I've still yet to this day to find anything that's like that, where it mixes so many genres and so tight. And so that's always my benchmark of music quality right there. And then, but lately I've been really getting into, with my new music, a lot of the dancey 80s new wave,
right,
like The Cure and the Tears for Fears, where they have that pop element to the kind of like broodier lyrics. And so with my newest music, I've been taking a little more of a pop element to it and looking back at those classics, especially like Talking Heads and all those. But every generation, we're living in the best time for music, because we have like this time machine, and everyone's kind of like almost like weeded out the stuff that's just okay. We have all this amazing music from year to year to year, and the amount of great songs are coming out every day. It's such a fun time as a music listener.
Well, if we're going to get on good music, I think it's about time we play another song from your album, yeah?
Yeah.
So this would be The Want and the Need, written by Colin Scarf, and performed by you, Fires of Denmark.
I found you out and now I can let you in. You kid yourself, it's no problem. Just a little razor slicing thin. The city's feeling more like a movie. Every joy rises inside of an ambulance. And even in the morning there's a train. Sometimes it's nice to pretend I'll give you what you want. If you give me what I need, I'll give you what you want. If you give must have decided, watch my shadow on the ground. Why can't I dream about the ocean instead? You know I love that sound. I take what I can get these days. I never said that I was proud. I'll give you what you want if you give me what I need. I'll give you what you want if you give me what I
And that was The Want and the Need, written by Colin Scarf and performed by Fires of Denmark, who we have in the studio with us today.
Hello.
So, another question that brought to my mind, you talked about how you had all these different genres in Pink Floyd's album that inspired you. And the thing is, when listening to your music, I noticed a lot of it kind of goes into like a dreamy kind of sense to it, almost like modern lo-fi.
Yeah.
And
Very much so.
right.
I really like that. I'm like being a studio musician. I really don't like any kind of limitations on what I'm creating in the studio. So I play most of the instruments for the majority of the songs. And when I'm creating it, I like to create that landscape, almost like that dreamscape sense, where I can put stuff anywhere in the sonic bubble of your ears. And so just being able to create this almost like surrealist look at music, to create this dreamy state, it's just helped the listener kind of go into the world of Fires of Denmark when they're listening.
Right. And it's interesting how you say you don't like the limitations, which makes sense because I read about you and I see that people describe you as someone who really challenges the conventions of several genres and really pushes against it. And you can hear that in your music, but it begs the question, what genres are you trying to challenge? What genres are you trying to really go against the norms of?
I think my last album I was trying to do a lot more of that challenging thing where it was more like the Relativity album was what I'm talking about. Trying to find the magic of music where it can take you into a whole nother world where it's not like that something that's in the background while you're driving or to work or whatever, but that's something that can capture you, because we've all felt that magic in music where all of a sudden you're just completely lost in a song. And so that last Relativity album, I tried to do that with using hypnotic rhythms and very subtle chord changes to take the listener somewhere. But the newer stuff I'm working on is straight pop. I'm cutting stuff left and right and making really 2-minute long songs, but still having that Fires of Denmark impact where you can play with these elements and make something that's really catchy, but still have like this raw edge or unique sounds to it. You still have that structure that the listener's expecting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously we're focusing on your album, the current album you have on.
Yeah.
Excuse me, my brain kind of farted there for a second.
My little mixtape of producer mixtape, yeah.
But I did listen to some of your earlier ones. And one that really jumped out to me was Interference.
Oh, yeah.
My favorite song on there has to be like Thursday.
Oh, yeah, nice.
And
Tuesday, yes.
Is it Tuesday?
Oh, no, it's Thursday. It was Thursday. Yes, you're correct. Sorry,
right.
You were correct.
Well, it's just an amazing part of your music. Take it from me, I love video game music. I don't think it gets enough credit because I really think it sets the scene, and I noticed that in a lot of the music you make as well.
It's those vintage synthesizers, man. They have like that just full, unique, classic sound, nostalgic.
Right. And along with that, you're not just playing the background. you're really setting up a world with your music, and I noticed that a lot, especially with the fact that a lot of it tends to kind of like fade in and just really draw you in. Like it's not just hitting you like a train. It's almost like if you close your eyes, you can see the world constructing around you little by little.
Awesome, man. That's so cool to hear that.
It's definitely something else. And the thing is, you can hear your earlier works within these covers you've done. Or, excuse me, these remixes are covers, or what would you classify them as?
They're completely unique songs to themselves. Written, produced songs, maybe? Collaborations.
Collaborations, I guess. Okay, that's a fair one. These collaborations, I can still hear your influence. I can hear, like, your earlier works within them, and I think that's really a really cool concept, because the songs are different, but as you said, they go into a genre that you haven't really dove into. But man, it's so surreal seeing like someone from somewhere else mixed in with some place that they weren't part of in the first place, and seeing it combined together. It's almost like bridging the gap between their music and yours.
Yeah, and that's what I've been doing with my producer work. It's been really great now. I've been starting to get different musicians now reach out to me and, hey, will you produce a song for me or produce an album for me? And they've usually come because they want that, to step in that world and have a song that sounds kind of in that world. And that's just been my dream. And to get that recognition that people actually want to come into that world is kind of fun.
Well, that's amazing. So you're not only like someone who writes your own songs, you're someone who could take someone's work and really morph it into your specific genre of music.
Yeah, I've been doing it for, now that I've been kind of dialing in my desired sonic universe. It's been 25 years working on creating that unique sound. I'm really confident where I'm at right now. I can kind of, any sound I want, I can kind of create. It's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, and I'll say it's really nice to listen to.
Thank you. Have you listened to Relativity yet?
Not the whole thing. I've actually
You
started.
gotta sit down. If you got 45 minutes, sit down, listen to the thing from front to back, and it will take you somewhere. It's fun.
No, I started listening to it before we started this interview because, I was really just rushing through all your music because it's truly something else. And it's,
Thank you.
Like, it's astounding how every little instrument stands on its own. Like,
yes, has to be there. Has to do that. Yep.
Yeah, it's definitely something unique because more often than not, it's the vocals and then everything behind them.
Yeah,
but for
I call
you,
it the karaoke. I call it the karaoke effect. That's my biggest thing. I'm always afraid of. I want to sound like I'm in the group of sound.
Right, and you did a great job at that, in my opinion.
Thank you.
It just melds so well. It's like one big thing, not just a spotlight and many behind it.
Yeah.
But wow, it's just astounding. And,
thank you so much.
I think we're going to go into one more song here. So this is Sun and the Moon, written
this
by...
one's so fun.
Really? What made you say that?
This is probably the most ungenred song for me. Very ska, like 90s ska. John's a trombone player, and he comes in with a song that's all like really kind of boppy, and like he kind of raps. It's like 90s ska rap.
Yeah, I heard a bit of that.
And I'm like, okay, this is gonna be a fun project to do. So now then I'm gonna have to, like, if you listen to it, every 8 bars, I'm trying something different to kind of keep the song moving. So that was kind of like the fun challenge of that one, is how to make each part kind of its own unique thing. Yeah, it's a fun one. And John's such a great guy. If you ever see Loudmouth Brass play, or he plays in so many other bands as a trombone player here from Rochester, Minnesota, and a great supporter of music's arts.
Well, I will say it's fitting when you say like it flows with every 8 bars, because I'm listening to it and I'm not gonna lie, like I said before, when I listen to your music, I can kind of close my eyes and see the events happening in my head. Yeah. I'm sure they're not the ones that you had in your head, but it's something. And I can see like the days go by with the slight changes in slight additions you would add throughout the song, what would get taken out. Almost like the passage of time was flowing through it. And it really fits with that name, Sun and Moon, because you'll see them day and night, and they're ever going, they're ever changing. The moon's always chasing the sun, or vice versa.
Yeah.
And things change in that. But there's always something that stays consistent, and the thing that stayed consistent in that song is that it's you, and it's your music.
Yeah.
Man, it's really astounding. No, I believe that's you giving me a great interview here. Thank you so much for being part of this.
Oh yeah.
And
anytime, man. I love chatting, especially if you're going to sell us nice stuff about me. Call me anytime.
Well, I'll be sure to, and I'll tell you what, I'll listen to music a lot more. I'll definitely recommend it to a lot of the people I see.
Thank
as
you,
like,
man.
what kind of music do you like? This stuff. That really.
I try to make it for music lovers. Like, that's,
just amazing. But before we let you go, is there anything you'd like to say to our audience before this ends?
Yes. I have an album I've been working on for probably about 2.5 years. I finished all the songs, and now I'm going to try to do the promotion thing right. So through 2023, I'm going to be releasing probably about 10 songs every few weeks, every month. So stay tuned to Fires of Denmark. It's kind of a disco punk kind of thing, like Clash was one of the big inspirations. Lots of horns and saxophone. It's very fun. The first song is going to be out on December 13th.
December 13th. That's when the first song's coming out.
Yes.
Oh man, I'm sure many people will be excited for that, myself included.
Yep, I just finished up the lyric video, so that'll be up on live. If that's your thing, it'll be up on Spotify, streaming, all that fun stuff.
All right, sweet. Well, thank you for doing this interview with us.
Thank you for saying all your kind words.
It cool, I pale in comparison, I'm oh so cool. You're full and round as you smile down, and your attitude is the only sound. Your rays are what pays the rent around here. I'm a blue moon, show up once a year. I'm half dark all of the time, I only shine when we're both in line. The sun and the moon are both in the sky. They look a little like you and I. It's gonna be a long, lonely night when my sliver of a smile is the only light. When the sun and the moon are both in the sky, they look a little like you and I. It's gonna be a long, lonely night when my sliver of a smile is the only light. One small step on the moon's dusty crust, you take a giant leap and you're gone from us. Your flames get hot when I get too near. That's why I like how you look from way out here. When the sun and the moon are both in the sky, they look a little like you and I. It's gonna be a long, lonely night when my sliver of a smile is the only light. When the sun and the moon are both in the sky, they look a little like you and I. It's gonna be a long, lonely night when my sliver of a smile is the only light. One small step on the moon's dusty crust, you take a giant leap and you're gone from us. Your flames get hot when I get too near. That's why I like how you look from way out here. You're a chariot driving across the sky, a flaming wheel flying by. Apollo's the man, I'm in the periphery. You don't smile, just wink quietly. Is full and the wolves are coming out. They're gonna twist now, they're gonna shout. The mashed potato with the vulpine flip. It's a party, you get the gist.
Photosynthesis, your modus operandi. A little daylight's a little more than handy. I got more craters than a block of Swiss cheese. I whistle as I work and I do as I please. But what's the use of having sunshine around if there ain't no night in which to get down?
When the sun look a little like you and I. It's gonna be a long, lonely night where my sliver of a smile is the only light. When the sun and the moon are both in the sky, they look a little like you and I. It's gonna be a long, lonely night where my sliver of a smile is the only light.
The only light. The only light. The only light. It's just a phase I'm in. But currently, you know I'm changeable as Mercury. It's just a phase and now the tide has changed and all the waves have been rearranged. It's just a phase I'm in. Currently, you know I'm changeable as Mercury. It's just a phase and now the tide has changed and all the waves have been rearranged. 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 Rearranged.
Thanks again to Fires of Denmark for joining us tonight on The Sound. To hear more from Fires of Denmark, go to Bandcamp, your favorite streaming service, or firesofdenmark.com. For more deep dives into local and regional albums, tune into The Sound, Wednesday nights at 6 right here at 89.5 KQAL. You can also hear previous episodes of The Sound on your favorite streaming service. I'm Giovanni Bermudez.
Thanks for listening to The Sound. The Sound is produced by KQAL FM on the campus of Winona State University. Visit us online at kqal.org. Theme music for The Sound provided by Mike Terrell of Fires of Denmark.